So this is what one of the broken headliner clips look like. So you see how there's like a shoulder at the bottom of the stem? That's the reason why these green ones don't work. So if you see the difference between these two, this is the $1 green clip on the left and the $2 gray clip from Mercedes on the right. Or is it the other way around because you're looking at it? Anyways, green and gray. These don't work because when I try to push them up, they click and then they pop right out. And also now that we have more insulation in there, so that's a problem. So what I'm doing, instead of going to Mercedes buying these, I'm modifying these. What I'm doing is I'm going to use a soldering iron. I'm going to create a shoulder that's higher. So this kind of one that I've already done, you can see the one on the left. There is a modified one with a soldering iron. I melted that shoulder higher up on the stem so that it can accommodate for more material, to hold up more material. So I'm going to see if this works. Try not to breathe in this fume. Good ventilation is always good when you're melting plastic. Okay, here are the modified clips. Slide them into place. Moment of truth. There. They're all staying. Headliner is back in.
70 and 3/4 years.
So these window shades that we had, we decided to take them off for now because the number one biggest reason, there's two reasons. Number one biggest reason is that the rollers for the screen and for the blackout shade, they rattle like crazy when you drive.
Yeah.
We didn't notice that. I mean, we didn't know that. And maybe most people don't too, because these are usually like used in trailers, truck campers, home
Separate
built.
living areas.
Yeah, that's not accessible when you're driving, but we found out that these shades, if you're driving and you're sitting within like a earshot of these, they rattle like crazy, especially if you plan on going down bumpy roads. So we don't know what we're gonna do with them. I don't think we're gonna use them, but it does seem like,
Unless we can hack it.
yeah,
Right, unless we can hack it to
I don't even know how we do that.
deadening the sound. I don't know. I'm sure somebody else must have run into this problem.
Yeah, so if you have these kinds of windows and you have those roller shades and they don't make noises, let us know. These are the Arctic turn windows. I don't know if that many people have them.
It says Eurovision on them too.
They're called, the Eurovision is the model name. We're sealing up the rest of these. We got some more foil tape, so we're gonna seal them up, make them airtight. And we've started working on what I've been calling the fun part, which is cutting wood. We've gotten some 2x3s.
We have a chainsaw.
We went with 2x3s for a couple reasons. One is that they're stronger than 2x2s, yet they're lighter than 2x4s. But they're kind of hard to find, and we just happened to come across these in Lowe's. They didn't have them at the Home Depot near us, so we had to go to Lowe's. And we were actually looking for 2x2s, and we came across these. We'll probably end up using less because we don't have to space them as closely because they're wider. And what we're doing now is we're laying out the frame on the floor. We bought some OSB that we're going to put on top of this, but this will form the foundation, the base of what everything's going to be built on top of, which will be cabinets on both sides. That'll probably go up about, I don't know, just below the windows, I'm thinking. And then in front of the windows where there's wall, it'll go up a little higher, halfway up probably. And then from the top of that is where the kid's bed will be. Then the back will be, come out here, there'll be a little support here for the rest of the bed. But yeah, this is where we're gonna start building up. So we're building a frame for this. We'll probably build a frame up there too for where the kitchen's gonna be.
Show me how you hopscotch.
And Mila's using my framing as a hopscotch game.
Show everybody.
Mommy thought of.
Okay.
Show
show me.
everybody.
Awesome. So yeah, that's our project today. We're finally getting to the building part. Initially, we thought we would put the plywood directly on top of the factory floor with the rubber matting and all that. But then we decided instead to put our 2x3s down, built out a frame, and then put the plywood on top of that. So that's what we're gonna do. We've already got the OSB cut to shape. That's gonna go in here. None of this is screwed into the floor. So this is actually just floating. But we built it to the exact shape of this floor. And then once we have the wood on here, the OSB on here, screwed in, it'll strengthen all these pieces. Because right now, they're just fastened together. They're not actually even fastened together. They're just cut to size. They're assembled, held together by this masking tape, this painter's tape. We've done all the measurements to know once the board goes on exactly where we need to put the screws in. So these are 1.5 inches. The OSB is 3/4, I think. So we got 1.5 inch screws that'll go through the OSB into a good part of these 2x3s, but not down to the floor. And there's a couple of tricky spots that I had to kind of cut notches out of the 2x3, and I'll show you where they are. There's this metal strip that connects multiple pieces of the factory floor. So what I've done is I cut a notch out of the wood here, and the wood here, and the wood there. I cut this on the wrong side, but that's okay. There's a little bump out here, so I cut a notch out of that. So that way it can fit all the way flush to the edge. So this is looking at it from the other side. So I think that looks pretty good. So that gives you guys an idea of the footprint. From the end of the van to here is going to be our bed. And our bed is going to be probably, I don't know, what is this, 18 inches? It's going to be just a little higher than the wheel wells. And then our bed's going to be 48 inches in the middle.
140.
And then this space right here to the side, we'll build like a shallow cabinet. That's going to come up to right about here, which is where the kids' bed's going to start. And that'll be the rest of the space up there will be their bed. So that'll be one part of the support for their bed. There'll be a mirror image on this side over here, a shallow cabinet. And then it's going to come back, and then it's going to end right here where the window starts. It'll get low, it'll get lower, and it'll continue all the way back here, and there'll be a support here for the back of the bed. So there's probably going to be, in some places, their bed will be somehow supported against the frame of the van, but for the most part, the weight's going to sit on top of the cabinets that we're building. Our fridge is going to go here. We've not decided if we're going to have the fridge up high or down below. If we do it up high, then we can have storage down below, but if we do it down below, it needs to be on either like some kind of slide, or we couldn't have cabinets above. So we got to figure that out once we get around to it. And I wouldn't mind actually just to have like a low cabinet and then have the fridge a little bit higher so it's easier access. I believe that's 5 feet here to there. from the wall to the outside, that's 24 inches. That's a 5x2. And that's going to come up to about kitchen counter height, maybe slightly higher. We like it a little bit higher. And then we'll have our stove and sink here. And we may or may not build like a little compartment here for all the electrical stuff. If we have room in underneath this 5x2 space, then that's where it's going to go. That's pretty much the layout. Once we have this foundation, which should happen in the matter of a few minutes when we screw in the OSB, then we'll start building up from there. All right, so we got 1.5 inch EPS foam to go in between all these wood pieces, which will help, first of all, keep all the wood in place, and second of all, help us insulate. And also, it'll take some of the weight that's going to put on there, even though most of the weight will still be taken up by the 2x3 studs. We're hoping that it's not going to squeak, and I don't think. We're making it tight enough so it won't squeak, I think.
We are called the Molly Bish, it means little mouse. So expect some squeaking.
It's true. It's true. So maybe a little squeaking is good for us. We actually had to go back to Home Depot because for some reason they had a piece of 2-inch EPS foam sitting on top of a stack of a whole bunch of 1.5 inch foam. So then we brought it back, we're like, this is way too thick. Fortunately, even though we already cut a piece off, they were able to let us exchange it for the right piece, because this is actually what they rang us up for. So that worked out, because otherwise, yeah, I don't know what we would do with a 2-inch piece of EPS. This is one sheet of 8x4, 1.5 inch EPS. Somehow, we didn't do the math or anything, but if you take and probably figure out the exact square footage that we needed to fill all these voids. But we can tell you that right now it is really close to 32 square feet. We used pretty much every last piece of our 8x4 foam board. We're going to clean it up and the plywood is going to go on. So here it is. OSB insulated floor. We got the 2 main pieces in. There's going to be 2 more small pieces that go up in the front. Little piece there, bigger piece there. But these are all screwed in, but it's actually not connected to the van at all. It just sits on top, but there's enough heft and shaped correctly that I don't think it's gonna go anywhere. I think we're good, and we got these lights in here now too.
Yeah.
And the headliner's fixed. We bought the wood that goes on this. We will screw right into the metal there. So tomorrow we'll come in, measure and cut the shape for both of these walls. And then we'll have walls in. And we won't see any more insulation, hopefully, once we cover these walls up and we cover these floors up. And then we're good.
Yeah.
I think we're going to start building up from here. So 15 days, this is how far we've gotten. I was hoping we'd be farther along, but you know what? I think a lot of the things we had to do it right. Tomorrow, we got to get up early and try to get more done. There's definitely more trips to Home Depot and Lowe's in our future. That's it for today. As you can see, we worked later than normal today. That's because we have these lights now, so that helps. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for continuing to support us. If you have any questions about our build, as always, write them in the comments below. If you're not subscribed.
And for those of you that are subscribed,
Yeah, what do they do?
don't subscribe.
All right, guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow.